Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rob Morrison. I'm here today with everyone else at Best to relaunch Retrofit Scotland, which I'm incredibly excited about. I joined Best in May of this year, but prior to this, I'd spent the past 10 years retrofitting 2 post-industrial buildings near the canal in North Glasgow. And I joined Best to be part of a team that was ultimately trying to build the infrastructure to scale that impact. So I'm absolutely delighted and slightly nervous to be here to launch Retrofit Scotland again today. So we've been changed? Yeah. So I think from this morning's presentations, I don't think you can have a more compelling overview of what the need is and the urgency of that need. These are huge numbers. And I think ultimately it's the imperative, like what our job is now is to act upon these. And that's the whole point of why we're all here today. But before I start talking in more detail about what that action will look like, I think it's important to flag and highlight that Retrofit Scotland is ultimately building on a project that was initiated in 2013. This isn't a new initiative. It is ultimately the idea of retrofitting Retrofit Scotland, and due to the urgency of the task at hand. And so, why are we doing this? And I think simply, our mission is incredibly simple. We need healthy buildings, we need healthy people, and we need a healthy planet. I don't think that there needs to be any more complex than that. And to achieve that, like has been discussed this morning, there's 4 key principles which we need to look at, which is reduce energy demand to save energy and carbon. We need to enhance the building performance to improve comfort and health. And we need to decarbonize our heating and energy systems. And number 4 is reimagine and reuse the buildings rather than demolish them. And I think this ultimately is a multifaceted issue. And to achieve this and to get anywhere close to meeting our targets, this is ultimately the biggest infrastructure project of a generation. And a primary challenge that is distributed, nuanced, and hard to scale. To accelerate the change, we need the tools and we need the infrastructure that aligns with ultimately what is the nature of the practice. And a huge part of this is a networked, distributed platform that connects both the top-down initiatives that we've heard so much about today, with also, the top-down with the bottom-up initiatives. And I think that's a massive part of the challenge, and that's where we aim to position ourselves. And so to just come back to this, I think like since 2013, there's been such a significant amount of work done in terms of the research and the strategy development across a whole range of partners working across the sector. There's a solid understanding of the problem, and ultimately we have most of the technical tools that we need right now, and ultimately it's about application and the urgency of that application. And so it is about Retrofit Scotland will accelerate retrofit action. That's ultimately the aim. So our objective is to support an emerging network of retrofit infrastructure. I think this is, and there's 4 key things that we'll do. So number 1, as I'm going to reiterate what Katrina's already said, but bear with me, I won't be much longer. Number 1 is retrofit practical training. Number 2 is convening communities. Number 3 is about co-working and event spaces. And number 4 is a program around retrofit consultancy. So to look at those in more detail, number 1, as I said, is looking at our retrofit practical training. So Best have extensive experience delivering sustainable building practice and training within that. So ultimately what we're doing now is evolving our offer to create a retrofit practical training that can be tailored to suit a range of skills and experiences and contexts. Once operational, we intend to collaborate with a range of partners across the tertiary education system to collaborate and work out what ultimately are the routes to scale, and how these trainings can suit a range of learning needs and building archetypes. Number 2 is convening communities. This activity builds on Best's experience and expertise around delivering a whole range of different events. An example of that is what we're all here today to enjoy, Best Fest and the International Retrofit Conference, but it extends to Retrofit Reimagined and many other events that we, as Best, and also our host of partners have delivered. So later this year, we'll be launching, shortly after this actually, we'll be launching a program of events, co-working days, workshops, and ultimately the ambition here is to build a community focused on retrofit in Scotland. So yeah, more details will follow. And please, yeah, there'll be opportunities to sign up to some of these at the end of this, at the workshop this afternoon, which I'll give more information about. Number 3, co-working spaces and event spaces. So Best launched the National Retrofit Centre in January of this year at the Innovation Campus. And our ambition is ultimately to establish a hub and spoke model across Scotland. So I think what's so clear from this morning's presentations is the very place-based specific nature of retrofit, working with communities in their place. So we can't do this centrally. And ultimately, the ambition is to establish a distributed retrofit campus across the country. And true, ultimately, to the spirit of retrofit, our intention is not to build new things. Our intention is to reimagine and connect what already exists. So this ultimately is starting with Civic House, which is the photo here. Which is the project I worked on with, oh God, about to knock over the water, with colleagues in North Glasgow. And we're super keen to hear from other spaces across Scotland who might be already in existence or thinking about becoming in existence, who would want to be part of that network. And finally, is Retrofit Programme Consultancy. As an innovation centre, Best have 10 years of experience connecting academic and industry partners to make things happen. And we want to take this learning and focus on how we can start collaboratively tackling big, ambitious challenges at scale. Immediate next step is a workshop this afternoon at 3 o'clock, which is happening today in here. So please join us for that if you can. And also, I just ultimately want to say that we are where we are right now, building on the work that's been done before us, and when we go forwards, it will be a collaborative work in progress. So we want feedback, and we want to work with people in this room. And so ultimately, for it to succeed, it needs to respond to the direct needs of this emerging retrofit community. And finally, if you've been inspired by what you've heard here today, if you want to take action, please join us to Retrofit Scotland.